Hey guys, IT Ops guy. Well, I wanted to dive in today to Web01 and AppInsight for IIS. AppInsight's actually a very fantastic monitoring tool that allows you to deep dive into IIS and the health of it and your websites, and you can get a ton of information off of AppInsight for IIS. And so here is our Web01 IIS instance. And you can see that I only have one site on there. It's the default website. So it doesn't do much. In fact, if we drill into that website, we can see all the statistics about it and how it's performing. I'm running some traffic against it right now just so we can see some additional stuff. But let's take a look at what that site looks like. That's it. That's all it is. It is the default Internet Information Services website. So nothing super special about it. And essentially the traffic that I'm running against it is just a get. And if we look at this here, I'm populating some values with some PowerShell script that I'm running. Essentially, I'm doing a giant loop and say, go get this URL, go get it, go get it, go get it. And I'm doing that a bunch of times over. And so that's giving us some values in these boxes, because looking at just zero isn't super helpful or exciting, So let's dial into some of these here and take a look at these values. Anytime it turns into a hand, Solarwinds has more information for you. So we're going to dive into these top three here. And what I really like about these is not only do you have all the different stats just at your fingertips, but you've also got that expert knowledge, right? So if you happen to hire, tier 1 people or interns, there's some information right there without them always having to ask a lot of questions, because they can go into this particular counter and say, well, what does this mean? Well, it's the total number of connections to the web or an FTP service that have been attempted since the service started up. The count is the total for all websites or FTP sites combined, regardless of what you choose for the instance. So, and then you can dive into this. Like I said, I'm running some scripts right now, so I'm just going to highlight this area, and we can see that, we're normally running like 14, and right now we're doing like 7.6 again. So not super exciting, but all of these metrics over here on this left side, you can dive into. So like total bytes received, again, you've got some knowledge here. Not much of an explanation, but it's something. And then, you can highlight and see what those things are. So if we go total method requests, I should be performing a bunch of gets against this guy right now. And that's what this is that we're seeing. So you can see the max 766. Those are all those PowerShell scripts that I've got going, multiple windows. So we're trying to make some traffic, some synthetic transactions we're sending against this thing, because it's not exposed anywhere. Nobody's visiting it. But I want you to see, what you would see if you were monitoring an IIS web server. And some of the information you can imagine here, that you would have a nice graph, probably somewhat spiky or kind of rolling hill, that would show you that your traffic is, up in certain parts of the day and down at night, or, so on and so forth. So you can dive into all that information here. And here's another one, current connections. You can see it's only currently sitting at 7, so not a ton. Again, you've got that expert knowledge, which is a nice thing to have. And you can drill into these. all these charts down here, by the way, you can export them, you can do all kinds of stuff. If you do export them, you can get some options like exporting it to Excel format, which is a nice thing to have, and it actually gives you the data along with it. So if you say, you know, I just want the last hour, export it to Excel, and we go and we look at that file, which says it could be unsafe, but I'm sure it's not. It gives you all that data that you're looking for. And you can see, you know, as I mentioned, we're not monitoring, we're not doing anything with this web server. It's a bunch of zeros until we get down here at the point where we actually start running some scripts against it. And then you can see the min, average, and max, min, average, and max. So we've got all that good information coming in, and you can get it in a nice chart kind of format, or table format rather, or you could export it to HTML as well. That's the same thing if the person doesn't have Excel that you're giving it to, and all of this stuff's adjustable. The periods, so right now it's set to every half hour, it looks like. Yeah, so there's the sample interval. You can change all that stuff to whatever makes sense for your needs. But it's nice to be able to drill into all of this. And again, this is by site. So if I go back to the IIS instance, if I had another website on there, I would see additional websites. So instead of, you know, default website, it would be, you know, abc.com and 123.com and whatever else. All of those would show up right here. And I would be able to drill into the metrics for each individual website that I'm monitoring. All this information out here is information about the box as a whole. So if you're looking at the entire web server, this is how many connection attempts there are to it. If you're looking at the entire server, this is how many total logon attempts. And then as you log in per website, you can see what each individual site is responsible for of that holistic number. So let's take a look at the total logon attempts. Again, you've got a little bit of knowledge. It's not a ton, but it's something to help those interns, those tier 1 guys, as they're trying to learn and navigate SolarWinds, because SolarWinds is an absolute beast. It does anything and everything. You're really only limited by the components that you have, the modules that you have, and your imagination, right? Or your abilities to monitor stuff, because you can write all kinds of custom things and plug it right into SolarWinds. Oh, this was the analysis project. I want to show you guys that real quick. So one of the things that I love about SolarWinds is the ability to do stuff in real time. You can see here, I really like these graphs because they're so easy and fluid and fast. So if I go back 30 days, this hasn't even been up 30 days, but you can see here I was playing with it. So I'm just going to highlight an area and I'm going to click the plus. And that's going to zoom in to that particular area. And you can see where I was doing some testing, maybe creating a video, testing some scripts, and then a period of, where I'm doing nothing, essentially. And right now you can see that, again, we're making another video, so I'm testing some stuff out and running with it. But these graphs are super fluid. It really helps you kind of visualize data. One of the cool things about the performance analyzer is certain things will allow you to do real-time polling. IIS isn't one of them, which is kind of unfortunate. But if we were to add, say, volume in here, so let's put a volume way down here. Now you can see that start real-time polling is available. We could actually click that. We could see what, all of these gets that I'm performing against a website, what do those do to the disk? Do they make the disk reads much higher, the IOPS much higher, and we could start to get those values. I'm not going to stay on this page, but that is how you would do that, and you can have real-time polling and get those things as it's happening, which is really kind of cool. All right, coming back out to IIS's main page here, you can also dig into the application poll. So it's not all about the website. If we dig into this app pool, we can see everything from the worker processes to how much memory is it taking, how much virtual memory is it taking, and you get all of that information about the worker process with this. And so it's really great because you can see if you've got multiple products that are using the same app pool, you can see whether or not, is that really a good idea, right? Maybe if you're running that app pool too high, you need to spin up another app pool. You can see your number of work processes that are going, your workers, right? And see if you are running more workers than you think you should, or not enough, essentially, right? And you can create alerts and rules around all of this stuff. So you get an email when something happens that is out of the ordinary. And we will go over all of the alerts and the rules that you can set up because it's pretty infinite. Again, you're only kind of limited by your imagination. I will say this. As far as alerts out of the box, like almost everything is turned on. So you really need to go through there with a fine-tooth comb and go, okay, what alerts do I actually need? Where I tend to draw the line is if I'm not going to take any action, then I don't want the alert. If it's not going to cause me to do anything, then don't bother me with it, right? That's just an email for the sake of getting an email. What's the point in that? So that's kind of where I draw the line for alerts. If I'm going to take some sort of action, then give me an alert. Absolutely. That way I can do something with it. So just a little tip from me to you and on how I handle those things. So that is pretty much it about the AppInsight for IIS. There is a lot of stuff that it can do, but I just wanted to give you a really quick review and kind of rundown of it because it is a fantastic monitoring platform. If you are an IIS shop, you're a Microsoft shop, SolarWinds monitors it very, very well. You really can't beat what SolarWinds can monitor as far as IIS is concerned. If you're an Apache or an Nginx shop or something else, I'm not sure what SolarWinds can do for you. Maybe we'll spin up an Apache box and see how well SolarWinds can monitor Apache or Nginx or the like. So that's it for today, guys. If you've got some questions about AppInsight for IIS or for SQL or what have you, leave them in the comments. I will make sure to reply, and you guys have a great day.